Hi everyone, welcome back to chapter 5. This chapter is going to be covering the basic analytics and web intelligence. So, this chapter covers web analytics versus big data, some common tools used for web analytics, intermediate metrics, web analytics tracking, and how all of that process works. So, why would you ever use web analytics? Well, first off, going back to last week, it optimizes your website. This helps with search engine optimization. So, if you have an optimized website, you're going to show higher on a search engine. Maximize the marketing placed on a website. So, this is really good. So, this can show you like where your marketing is best placed on your website and where consumers are seeing it versus where they get like maybe annoyed with it, where they click more on versus where they don't even look at. So you probably don't put like some super important ad at the bottom of your webpage. Learning how to site navigate, where the content should go, aesthetics, all affect the bottom line, which should align with your business goals. So, navigating through a website, understanding how consumers go through the website based through web analytics. The content important? You can measure that through web analytics. And just the general aesthetics or brand all affect this bottom line. And this again aligns with your business goals. Learning from past marketing efforts on a website, optimizing future campaigns in the to increase conversion on a website. Recommend websites for marketing changes based on the analysis of website behavior, and it'll implement site changes or recommend changes that you need to do to increase all of the topics that we just listed. So, just a little refresher from chapter 1. This is how unstructured data looks, and this is how structured data looks. And this will help going into the beginning of this chapter. So, there is a lot of data that can be used to be collected through web analytics. Web analytics can configure to collect additional data when it's determined and needed through APIs and additional configurations through like HTML codes that we talked about in chapter 2 and 4. And then while the platforms are powerful out of the box, they don't do much of the business value until they are configured. So what that means is you may have all this data, like all this web analytics, and it's super beneficial, but what do you do with it? Like you have it, okay, that's cool, but like how do you know what it means? How can you transcribe this data into something more meaningful? Because let me tell you, you may be able to read it, but your boss or your boss's boss's boss may have no idea what you're talking about. That's not what they're specialized in. That's what they're hiring you to do. This is just a spectrum. This is like how where big data works. And then you go down into this second outer ring, which is a digital analyst, digital marketer, and then a marketer. Here is another. So first you have to have your overall business objectives. This aligns with every department, right? Which then moves into digital strategies and KPIs or key performance indicators. They are all tied directly to your business objectives. So, for example, Nike decides they want to sell more of running shoes instead of training shoes. That might be their objective for 2020 or for 2021. So, the way they're going to do that is they're going to set some key performance indicators and they're going to track through web analytics how are consumers looking at running shoes versus training shoes? What content are they looking at? What colors? What sizes? Who is our demographic? Those are all the key performance indicators they may set, which then would lead to key web analytics and behavioral audience segments, which goes into deeper like demographics, psychographics, and then you find out who your business target is from digital and overall, which all the way goes back and impacts all of these objectives. So it's necessary to understand how web analytics platforms work. Otherwise, they will not work optimally for us. And again, throughout this whole semester, I've got these videos posted for you to watch about Google Analytics. So, how to be effective with web analytics? Well, you got to get the right data to answer the defined business questions. Then you have to understand the company's operation as a detailed enough level so that the data can be correlated with the business's digital activities. And then you have to deliver with the reporting and insights to the right people, along with the right visualizations and language to garner the best response. That sounds like a lot of fancy words. Basically, that's talking about what I was just saying. Your boss may not know what in the world you are coding or decoding through web analytics. So you have to put it in like like a graph, like a really nice like Excel spreadsheet saying like, okay, like, hey, this is like this product and it's doing really well versus this product that is not doing so well. And you put that in a graph so it's a better language and visualization for your boss's boss and stakeholders to understand what's going on. Here is just another little chart that's basically what we just looked at, web analytics discovery on instrumental processing. So first you have to collect various intermediate web analytics. So this is like what the data struggles to and what the data suggests to analysts. Then you have to decide if the visitor has achieved the goals on the website. So is the conversion being met? Now, when I say conversion, that does not mean a purchase. A conversion can be like signing up for an email. It can be signing up for a newspaper, downloading a brochure. That can be a conversion. Or maybe a conversion is getting to the product webpage through like a site navigation. That can also be conversion. So were the goals achieved by the visitor? Then you need to find out what the visitor wants to accomplish to begin with. So did they find the product that they were looking for? So let's go, for example, Sephora. Sephora is a makeup and cosmetics industry. They are a good retailer to use. So let's say I was looking for a certain color foundation and I typed it in a search box and couldn't find it. And I kept typing and typing different words and it wasn't pulling up. And then I just clicked off and just went to Ulta. They can track how fast I was on the website, how many searches I did, and what didn't come up what I was looking for. And then I clicked off the website, and they know that. So they may go back in through the website and try to find the foundation, like it might be better optimized the next time I come in and look for it, or another customer. So then this all leads to formulating competitive intelligence based on the data that has been collected on the website. So you can track what consumers are searching, where they are clicking, how they are getting to your website, who is referring to your website. Are they coming from Google or Bing? Where should we spend our money? These are so many questions that Web Analytics answers for you. So the process gets repeated over and over. Google may be the best solution for your company at the time. And then maybe in the next like 2 years, Bing takes off and does 10 times better than Google, right? So you have to use analytics and metrics to improve your cycle. So you need to define your objectives and goals. Then you need to measure through key performance indicators or KPIs. The next thing you need to do is analyze. How did the KPIs measure out? Are they effective or are they not effective? Analyze it. Once you figured out if it's effective or not, act on it. Improve what needs to be improved. Get rid of something that's a waste of time. If your Facebook ad isn't generating enough conversions for the money you're spending, target a different segment. Or get off Facebook, go to another social media. Maybe your target group isn't residing on Facebook anymore, which will improve whatever you're trying to define. It's a huge cycle. Okay, so once the actual goals are defined, they need to be set up in web analytics in a manner, this kind of manner. So you have key business requirements, or KBR. Basically, these are your objectives. They inform the key performance indicators, KPI, what intermediate metrics need to be used. Okay, if you follow my Google Analytics videos, you kind of already have an idea of how this process is going, or what I'm about to say. So this is your business objective, right? This is like the business requirement that you need to be measuring. This is kind of what's measuring your objective. So the key performance indicator. So let's say I'm trying to my goal is to increase conversions. Okay, so I need to be tracking conversions, or I might track revenue based on campaigns to go back to measuring a conversion. Those are all KPIs. They all are measuring conversions through a metric. Pretty interesting. Again, watch the Google videos. I think they'll be very helpful for you. So measuring data and measuring digital marketing effectiveness. The challenge with KPIs is most of the standard digital metrics are almost useless to make marketing decisions because they were designed to measure the wrong things and doing it in the wrong way. That is your author talking about this. Configuring web analytics platforms is actually harder than most marketers think it is. The first digital analytics tools were built to read web logs, not to measure the actual digital world. When we say digital world, that means your actual consumer behavior, not the actual web page or web log. Through the capabilities of tools that have improved, the basic views they provide have not changed much. While people are building websites for specific purposes, the web analytics tools are not able to determine the purpose of a website. So if they could, analytics would be more useful. So web analytics can track all this really awesome information, but it has no idea what your website really is doing. All it is like coding certain words to match certain people what they're wanting those words to match. If web analytics, and I think it will eventually, especially with artificial intelligence on the move, when web analytics is able to determine what a website is actually saying and meaning, that's when everything's going to change. And that's when you're really going to want to be on the digital marketing train. Mapping business objectives to KBRs and KPIs. Here is just like another little chart kind of that explains what I was talking about in this previous slide. So your business requirement was to increase revenue online. So you have to have a conversion event. So the conversion event in this one was to finish the checkout process. So have you ever been shopping and you put it in your cart and then you're kind of like, I'll do it later? They're wanting to know who is actually finishing this. So the KPIs, or the key performance indicators, that we are talking about would be purchase, checkout initiation rate, buyer conversion rate, order conversion rate. You can track all of this on Google Analytics. If you are trying to decrease customer support cost, the conversion event that needs to happen is to decrease traffic to contact us pages. That does not mean moving the contact to us, because that can also have a reverse effect. But you're trying to give as much information as you can before they actually hit contact us. So on this, the KPIs you would be tracking would be the percent of visitors viewing the contact page, or percent of visitors searching for contact related content. So on this one, you're trying to increase all of this rate, and on this one, you would be trying to decrease based on what your requirement is. Some examples of mapping KBRs to KPIs. The key business requirement is always much broader than the simple metric. So just very simple, you're increasing revenue. Okay, well, like what kind of revenue? You can go even further than that in your conversion. So maybe you're saying, I want to increase revenue. And then you're like, okay, well, I really want to increase revenue on women's clothing. And then that might be some of the metrics that you take in target. So you might take out men's clothing or kids' clothing. You would just want to look at women. So KPIs are more central to the conversion event. Conversion points in web analytics, especially custom conversions, must be set by the administrators. So this is where Google Analytics comes in. It can track it, but you have to set it up first before it can say, okay, this is what we're doing. And you can custom track too as well. You might say, okay, I want to compare last week's data to this week's data. You can set that up. You can have it actually even send you email reports to your boss, and have it say like, okay, like this is like how we're improving or how we're not improving and what can we do better. Most of these are so-called KPIs. They're intermediate metrics that are produced by platforms at their convenience, and they have almost nothing to do with real business marketing outcomes. They are indicators much like a dashboard of a car. They indicate diagnostics such as like speed and health of a vehicle. They're looking at the speed and health of your website. So think of a dashboard. When we do the dashboard assignment, very similar to the dashboard of a car. It lets you know, okay, like we're doing fine, or maybe your check engine light's on. Maybe your check engine should be on for your website. That's what you're looking at when you do a dashboard. It's just an at-glance diagnostic. Common business goals used in the media and technology would be retail and personal business. So this would be like marketing and advertisement. What are the key business requirements? So it'd be like in media and advertising to draw visitors into the site deeper, looking at more detailed stuff. Whereas technology would be generating leads. You're trying to sell your technology. Retail would be to draw more visits to product pages. You're wanting to look at as many pages as you can. And then in a personal example would be like, hey, I want to lose like 20 pounds. So you might look at a website that's all targeting weight. So then they're saying like, this is a conversion. What is the event that needs to happen? And then how are you going to measure it? And these are the KPIs that we were talking about. So for the media, if you're trying to get them deeper into your website, you might look at page views. How many page views is each getting? What are the monthly unique visits? How are page views per visitor and visits per visitor?